Hello everyone. Tonight I am going to be doing a live Facebook video about a couple of important topics. I know I told you the day before that I was going to be doing 2 Facebook Lives this week. Tomorrow we are going to be doing a celebration of Michael Jackson's birthday. But today we are going to be focused on more serious topics. The first topic is going to be, today is the anniversary of Emmett Till's abduction. It's also the anniversary of the March on Washington, and I'm also going to be showcasing an organization called Looking for an Angel, which raises awareness for missing persons. I'm going to be sharing with you a lot of statistics, some stories, and how to keep yourself and your family safe in this world today. So I have a lot of notes because there's a lot of statistics and I didn't want to get anything wrong. So as I said, today is the anniversary of the kidnapping of Emmett Louis Till. Emmett Till was kidnapped in 1955 from his aunt and uncle's house in the middle of the night. As I said, also, today is the anniversary of the March on Washington. I got my little buttons. Now, at the March on Washington, there were 250,000 people who showed up. But as of today, there's 400, according to last year, 2019 statistics from the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In particular, for children, there are 421,394 children that went missing in the United States in 2019. And there's more of that every year with both children and adults. So you have 250,000 people at the March on Washington, but there's more people that disappear annually worldwide, particularly children. I just thought that was crazy. But as I said, Emmett Till was kidnapped from his home. It was violent, it was racist, it was a network of racist people. Now, how do we tie this into missing children today or missing people today? The same thing goes. It is a network. With almost every missing person, usually there is a network of people who are either involved, who either know about it, or are trying to use it for a certain cause. So, anyway. Okay, let me get you started about Looking for an Angel before I go on a tangent. So Looking for an Angel, as I stated earlier, is an organization that raises awareness about missing children, missing adults. It was started by Theda Person after her son, Christian Ferguson, was abducted in 2003, and he has been missing ever since. Christian was 9 years old. He had a disorder. It was, I want to say, citrullinemia, and if he did not get his medication, he could fall into a coma and terrible things could happen. So after Christian went missing, Theda and her family started raising awareness about his case. In fact, if you come to St. Louis today and you ask somebody about like Christian Ferguson, they'll be like, oh, Christopher Ferguson, Christian? They still remember the story because the abduction was just very, very odd. And I'll tell you about that later on. But Theda and her family held different events to raise awareness about Christian missing. They had Riding for an Angel, which featured motorcycles, and a lot of motorcycle or bikers would come and have, I guess, a motorcycle run. I don't know what you call it. It was Biking for an Angel with bicycles. They also had a parade where people would come and they protest, and they would also bring, their posters of their own missing loved ones. So she kept the story of her child alive. And I met Theda in 2005, so that was 2 years after Christian went missing, and we wrote a book together which was this book. It was Looking for an Angel, The Story of Christian Taylor Ferguson. And if you would like to purchase this book, all proceeds go to Looking for an Angel, the organization. I put in the description box the email that you can write to. So if you're interested in buying a book, you just email, I would like a copy of the book. Each copy is $12. Now, as far as the organization, on the staff, there is Theta, there is another mother, there's two other mothers of missing children. Usually when families have, I guess, a person from their family missing, a lot of them get involved in just raising awareness for not only their missing person, but all missing people. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I'm just so many statistics. Anyway, as I was saying, so if you go to her website, you can check it out and learn more information about it. Now, right now, I am going to read to you some statistics about missing people, particularly missing children. If you were watching the news today, they say that there were 39 missing children discovered in Georgia. I don't know how you can have just one missing child, but 39 children in one spot. I don't understand. I literally don't understand. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, this is a network of people. People don't just go missing and nobody knows what happened. Somebody knows what happened to these children. Somebody knows how these children got to where they got to. I went to the website Black and Missing Foundation. It was founded in 2008 by a veteran law enforcement official and public relations specialist. Black and Missing Foundation basically features, profiles of people of color who have been missing because, unfortunately, a lot of people of color who go missing do not get the appropriate media coverage. And I know this personally because sometimes when I would be walking out and about in St. Louis, I would literally find a flyer of a missing Black child that I had never heard about. And their family would just make the flyer, but I wouldn't hear about it on the news. I wouldn't hear about it in the newspaper. There was no coverage for these children. And a lot of people come up with excuses for reasons of why they will not feature children of color or send out Amber Alerts for children or people of color because of who they are. So the statistics that I took from Black and Missing Foundation from January 1st to December 31st, 2018, I don't think they've updated it recently. It says that there are 230,302 minorities, missing in the U.S., and 170,523 of them were under 18. Now, they did a breakdown of their statistics. They say it was 59% white, 38% minority, and they say that minority meant Asians, Blacks, Indians. Hispanics are included in the 59% for white. And then there was 3% unknown. There were 49% female missing, that's 302,218, and 51% males missing, 310,517 males. How do you get all of these people missing? Literally. How do you... That's like this entire city going missing. But nobody knows anything. Globally, according to a site called trackemo.com, and I don't know how accurate their statistics are because they're also selling a product. They say 8 million children go missing globally, 800,000 in the US. In the city of St. Louis, where I'm in Missouri, in 2020, there are 63 missing juveniles. In 2016, it was only 7. So my question is why? Why do all of these people go missing? And I sat here and thought about it, and I've come up with some answers, my own personal answers, based off of what I've read, what I've seen in the media. Some of them you might have heard of, others you may not have heard of. So the main thing that comes to my mind is trafficking, particularly sex trafficking, which has been a very hot topic in the media as of late. They're mostly focused on, you know, the celebrities and their trafficking and selling children and all of these different things. And I could see that happening because, as I said before, you don't just get kidnapped randomly. It is usually a network of people. So I could see how children and other people could just get brought into just trafficking. They're not just fall into trafficking. Some of them are kidnapped. Some of them are sold by their own family. Some of these people that go missing actually went to go on job interviews and then get kidnapped. They go on a fake scam job interview. There were some stories that I read where some women would go to, I don't know what country it was. I don't know if they went to somewhere in Europe. They thought that they were going to become professional dancers, not like exotic dancers, just like, oh, I'm a ballerina or I do hip hop. They went all the way over there for their dance career only to be kidnapped and sold into prostitution. So some people fall into these with scams. Some people that just disappear off the face of the earth, like where are they? There was one girl here in St. Louis, Phoenix Colden. She's been missing for 8 years. She's been missing for 8 years. Where did she go? They found her car with everything in it, but they did not find her at all. They have a whole documentary on her if you would like to watch it. So, as I said, sex trafficking. Sex trafficking, people of all ages, young people, babies, children, it really doesn't matter. Some people are very specific about it. I gotta mark this off, hold on, so I won't repeat myself. The next why is hate crimes. Well, no, I'm not saying hate crimes. Hate crimes / spiritual crimes. And I'm clustering these together. So, as I mentioned before, Emmett Till's kidnapping anniversary is today. I would classify that as a hate crime. Some children or people are kidnapped because they are supposed to be like some sacrifice for a hate crime. Some of these people are lynching victims and they just labeled their lynching as a suicide. How many black people have gone missing in the past? They walked to town, you never saw them again. What happened to them? Are they in the river like Emmett Till was? Are they hanging from a tree? Were they burned to death? What happened to them? Nobody knows. But they're still happening to this day, where you see a black person going to town and then they never come back again. That's why they have a map of safe places for people of color to go. People think racism is over, but you still have to be aware of where you are going in this world if you are a person of color. Spiritual crimes. Some people are kidnapped for spells. There were, there were some children kidnapped and murdered for rituals. Like they're like, you have to take the child and we need them for this spell or something. There's some children, especially those with albinism in certain countries, that are kidnapped for rituals as well, that have albinism. There was a woman whose child was kidnapped. Her child had albinism and was murdered for like some type of ritual. But yeah, it's a real thing. Spiritual kidnapping is a real thing. Another reason why is poverty. Some families are so poor that they either sell their children just so they'll have less of a mouth to feed. And they don't want to do it, but they're just so poor and they can't feed their child, so they just sell the child. Other parents think that their child is going to be adopted somewhere, and child ends up being trafficked. So poverty does have a lot to do sometimes with a person missing. I know it's bad that people will discriminate against certain groups of people, but the reality is, like, if you're poor, you're usually not going to get any media coverage. They're usually not going to look as hard for you as they would with somebody they would consider a higher status. You know, if you were a person of color who was poor, they might be like, oh, they just ran away. No, they just a runaway, even if you had no history of running away. That's another factor, running away. Why? Running away. Some people run away because they might have a great life, but they just run away. Like, you might have just those troubled youth that run off, or troubled adults that just run off. And there's nothing wrong with their family or the people around them. It's something inside of them. But in some cases, the child or the person is running away from danger. Outside of their home, it is safer than inside of their home. And that is why they're running away. There was a song in the 90s, I cannot remember what it was called, Runaway Train. It was like, Runaway Train. I don't know who sang it. But they featured pictures of missing youth or missing people. And some of the people had run away, and they were found and sent back to the dangerous environment, rumor has it, that they ran away from. That's why it is our job as adults, observant adults, looking out for children, to always be aware of the children in our neighborhood, of the children we're working with, what is going on in their home, what's happening, what are their parents doing. If there's a special child in your life, always check up on them if you know their parent is kind of shisty. I knew a little girl, she was 2 years old, and I was always watching out for this child because I didn't trust her mother. Her mother was on something. I don't know what she was on, but she just hated her child. And the little girl was like 2 or 3 and said, "Mommy, I love you." And she's like, "Get out of my face. Get out of my face." The baby was smiling. She's like, "Get out of my face." Never fed her any real food, like just candy and everything. But the child's brother, who was like 10, was the one that was watching over her. So one day, I was like, because it was near my job, and the woman was like, "Hey, child over there." I was like, "No, I'm not about to take your child over to here. Even though you think you know me, you really don't know me. You think you know me, but you really don't know me." So I could see a child like that growing up and running off from home because they feel nobody cares about them. They feel nobody's watching out for them. And they run to people that they think will love them. Some of the people are in gangs. Some of the people are, I don't know, like in the streets. It really doesn't matter. They just want to feel love. Anyway, another reason why is drugs. Some people are sold for drugs. Some people disappear because they just got involved with the wrong crowd, so they're actually in danger. Some children are kidnapped for, collateral. They're like, "You didn't give me my drug money, I'm gonna take your baby." That's why it's important, if you are on any type of substances or any type of addiction that could put your family in danger, do your best to find help so that your children and your family will not be in danger. How many stories have you heard of somebody's house getting shot up for something one relative did and an innocent person getting hurt. Always be aware of what you're doing, because it doesn't just affect you. Some children or people are kidnapped because of their organs. Organ harvesting. They'll sell their organs on the black market. They'll sell their organs somewhere else. They might do rituals with their organs. I really don't know. Like, if you're that insane to just kidnap somebody and take their organs, like, I don't know what your mindset is. It's like that boy that got murdered in school and wrapped in the mat. And when they found him, some of his organs were missing. How do you get murdered in your own school and then your organs are taken, yet nothing is seen on camera? All right. Anyway, slavery. Some people are sold into slavery, not just like Joseph in the many coat of colors in the Bible, probably one of the oldest stories of human trafficking for real. But in places there are still people who are being enslaved. They're kidnapped and they're taken into slavery, forced to work in factory jobs, forced to work in like just horrible conditions. Another reason, domestic abuse. Some people go missing because they are victims of domestic violence. Not just the one who is in the partnership, but it might be children involved. It might be like another relative. How many cases have we heard of a violent beater or something, an abusive partner, taking their violence not just on the other person, but on their family member, on the dog, on their boss, like just come up and just do all sorts of insane shenanigans. But yeah, like you have to take all of these things into account. I know I haven't mentioned it yet. Custody battles. Sometimes the child or the person really isn't in any danger. Sometimes in a custody battle, they may be okay. But a lot of cases where it's like, oh, the child is gone. Like it's a custody battle. One parent wants to take the child because they want to violate this, or they don't want him with the other parent. It's just a very hot mess. That's why you have to be careful who you choose to procreate with. Last one is child predators. Child predators always out searching for their next victim, and it's up to us to put these people in their place, to stop these people from getting our loved ones. So that's why the next topic is going to be, so many notes. Next topic is going to be how you can protect your child, yourself, your family, your loved one from abduction or any danger. So, first thing that you want to do is talk to your child or your loved one about strangers. I know it is just a very oversaid piece of advice, like, oh, okay, we know that, Kiara, like, okay, don't talk to strangers. No, but for real, don't talk to strangers. Don't. If you don't have to, don't talk to them. You know, children, they're so innocent, they'll just go and be like, hello, my name is such and such and such and such. You have to tell your child what is a good stranger, what is a bad stranger. Also, don't even stop at strangers. I would go as far as relatives. Now, me personally, I know I can trust my relatives. I'd be like, if I had a child, I could leave him with any relative. But some people don't have families like that. They think just because that's the baby's uncle that they can just leave the baby over there. No. How many stories have we heard of an uncle or an aunt or a brother or a father or a mother doing something to a child or a minor or somebody who could not defend themselves? Always be aware of who you are with and who your child is with. Because sometimes if you don't have a child, you might have the wrong friend. The wrong friend might put you in a predicament that you can't get out of, and we don't want that to happen to you. Do background checks on people. Don't be afraid to pay for a background check on somebody. We keep sending children and minors off to school, but we don't know who these people are teaching our children. Like, who are they? It's like, oh, it's their teacher in the school. The school did the background check. No, do your own background check, because these organizations let people slide. And I know this because I worked with children 13 years, and I could not believe some of the adults they let into their organizations, whichever ones I was with. I'm like, why would you let this person in there? They obviously hate children. They don't know how to work with children. They're being inappropriate. Like, how did this person get here? You have to be like a hawk when you are watching over the vulnerable. And you have to be a hawk when you're watching over yourself. Self-defense classes, get them for yourself and your family, just in case you end up in a situation where you have to like fight, whether it be gun training, tasers, fighting with a knife, archery, jiu-jitsu. I really don't care. Something that will protect you when the time comes, or hopefully it won't come. But if it does come, you'll know how to defend yourself. Your child will know how to defend themselves. You have people right now in hate groups teaching children how to just shoot just random people. You saw what that little 17-year-old boy did, and everybody was just, they were just vulnerable. They didn't know how to defend themselves. They tried, but a lot of people got injured because of this one child. You always have to be aware of your surroundings. Don't just think that you're in a crowd, you're safe. That's actually the most dangerous place. Do not put your child's name on their clothes. Don't do it. All it takes is for one sick-minded predator to just call your child's name. Hey, so-and-so, your dad said blah, 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 blah. Your mom said, your grandma said, come over here. Or they'd be like, hey, so-and-so, come over here. They just come over, and next thing you know, they're snatched. Don't put your child's name on their clothes. Sleepovers. Always be aware of whose house your child is going to. Me personally, I went to sleepovers when I was a child. Nothing happened to me because the family I had the sleepover with was great. The mom and dad were great. All the children were great. However, this is a new age, a new time. It's kind of shisty out here. Anything can happen, even if you're an adult at a sleepover. As I said, there was a Black woman either this year or last year who went to a sleepover, and the next morning they found her dead on the lawn. You have to be aware of where your child is going, not because of the people, not only because of the people that live in that residence, but also the other children at the slumber party. That's why the Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother woman was like, my babies are not going to sleepovers. And her daughters didn't understand. But literally, you are in somebody's house. You don't know who lives at this house. If they're a non-relative, you don't know who these children are that are there. Your child's vulnerable and asleep in a stranger's house, most likely, his friend's house. You just gotta be cautious. Even if you had to put the no sleepover rules. We can have a day party, but nobody's sleeping over anybody's house. No. Room cameras. Cameras in your child's room or in your room. Now this is like a 50-50 because yes, it is good to have a camera to monitor things and everything. However, there have been cases where the camera has been hacked by an outsider and they can see everything that is happening in your house, in your child's room. Just go on YouTube and look up videos of people who have hacked cameras and just taunting children in their own house. I found maybe 3 videos of stuff like that happening. be aware of what camera company you're using. I don't know which one that in particular was, but just be aware that it could potentially be hacked, and just be safe. Lock your windows, lock your doors. A lot of people just, I don't know why, that's like, oh, I'm on the second floor, I'm on the third floor. I don't have to lock my windows. But look, how many times have we heard these stories of just somebody breaking into a kid's room or an adult's room and just taking them? Like, lock the windows. There's little sticky alarm things you can put on the windows, so if the window opens, it'll shriek. It'll like put traps in your house. I know this sounds paranoid, but literally, like, it's getting to that point. People have become more bold. You keep hearing about these trafficking things going on. You just gotta be safe. Don't, and I know one person was like, oh, well, I put yard signs in my yard. Be cautious of putting yard signs of where your child goes to school, where they go to church, all of these different things. Like, that's just giving a stranger information. They'll be like, oh, they have a 5th grader at such and such a school, and they're on the honor roll. Let me go look up their chart. Like, oh, they attend this church. Let me just walk on in there and become a member of that church. Like, no, don't. If you're going to do it, just be cautious. Show your child or your vulnerable person the neighborhood that they are in. Some people just know their street. They don't know the whole neighborhood. They don't know how to catch the bus. You have to train your youth as if something happened to you, they would be able to survive on their own. That's how you have to train. I know it's just bad to think that way, but you have to equip them with the proper tools so they will not end up in the wrong hands in this world. Collect DNA. Update your information and your child's information every 6 months, like updated photo, updated phone number, updated vitals, like do all of these things. That way, God forbid, if something happened, like went missing, they would have all this information and everything would be up to date. Like babies, small little babies, they're always growing and growing and growing and growing. Their weight, their eyes, everything. So just be sure to keep updated statistics on your child in case you have to make some type of flyer for them. But yeah, carry a whistle, not only you, but the youth. That way, if they can't escape, they can just blow and the noise will alert people around them. A lot of people don't like the whole, like, oh, I'm going to put my child on a leash. And at first, I did not like that either. But from some of the stories I've read, it's actually helped a lot of parents whose children have almost been victims of abduction, but because they had that leash on them, they couldn't be grabbed. Like they could grab their child. So yeah, always be aware of things going on now. Social media, monitor your child's social media. Who are their friends? Who are they talking to? Monitor these shows, because hackers try to get into shows as well, like that Momo incident several months ago, where it just showed up and was like telling children to commit suicide or whatnot. Always be aware. Watch, if you're gonna watch something, watch it with your child. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb. You'd be shocked. You would be shocked. The things you think you shocked the things they put in films? I'm going to tell you some things I've seen in library books, literally. I remember I got a sex education book. It was for 10-year-olds. And I thought it was going to be something with like, oh, your body is changing into this. This is the organ. This is the one sex organ. This is the other sex organ. Why did this book go into detail, like showing people in bed together, showing like different positions together? Like what the heck? There are predators everywhere. That's how you have to think. I know people say have a positive mindset, but you gotta think one step ahead of these crazy people out here. If something seems like a paranoid idea to you of something that might happen, just know that somebody's probably already thought of it, and you gotta be 3 steps ahead of them. Don't let anything go under your radar. Don't let any small little thing remain small, because it could actually be bigger than it actually is. So that is all I have to say for now. As I said, you can go to lookingforangel.org, which I have listed if you would like to purchase the Looking for an Angel Christian Ferguson book. If you wanted to buy a copy, you have to email your address, and they will like calculate the cost of shipping, because each is $12. Then I have my Emmett Till book, because this is the day, as I said, the anniversary of when he was kidnapped. You can get this book on my website, which I have posted in the description box as well. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. If I went on a tangent, I do apologize. I do want all of you to be safe. Just always be aware of what is going on. Always make sure that you are safe and that your family is safe. Prepare yourself for any situation so that we can reduce the amount of missing people that is happening worldwide. Because how do you miss 412,000 children? I'm going to notice if 10 children are missing, but 400,000 children missing in the United States last year, there's something wrong. If you see something, say something. And don't just look out for your own child. Look out for the whole, everybody. This is not the same world as, like, sometimes I have older adults. They'll be like, oh, well, I can play outside. Look, maybe back in those days, your child could just play outside in the yard, in the backyard, but you just got to be extra careful, because it's not the same type of people. We don't know these neighbors. We don't know their names. We don't know their backgrounds. It used to be your neighbor would be your teacher or your pastor or your dentist, all living on the same street. But those days, usually, in most parts, are over. So you got to think with some autonomy now. You got to think you're your own tribe and get your protection around you, especially in these days and times. So I will see you all tomorrow. We are going to be celebrating the birthday of the great Michael Jackson. If you have any Michael Jackson memories that you would like to share in my inbox that I can share with Facebook, you can, or where you were when you found out about his passing, or just various things. We're just going to have a wonderful time learning about the life of Michael Jackson. So talk to you all later, and have a nice night. Bye-bye.